This is Dr. Gigi Sabbat, and you're listening into the Walk With Me podcast. My guest today is Danyelle. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's such an honor to have you here today. Now, can you start out by telling us a little bit more about you and where are you from?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I don't want to say I'm not nervous, but it's just been a while since I've done a podcast. My name is Danyelle Cedar. I am originally from California, but I built my life in Maui for the last, I guess it's been 13 years now, but I lost everything in the Lahaina wildfire in August 2023. So I lost my home, my job, a loved one, my entire community in one afternoon. So since then, I relocated to Oahu. I'm currently in Haleiwa and I manage a bikini store. And in my free time, I'm just writing. So we just now, over 2.5 years later after the fire, got our permit to rebuild. So I'm hoping by this time next year, we can record a podcast and I'll be sitting in my newly built home again. And I'm currently, I know we'll get into my book, Dear Thomas, but I'm currently still writing and editing the second book, which is the sequel. And I go into the horrific details of what it was like to survive the Lahaina fire. That's all I can think of right now.
Thank you so much, Danyelle, and I'm so sorry about you losing everything. I'm so sorry. I truly admire your strength and your courage to keep going.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you mentioned that you're also from California. So, fun fact, I actually graduated law school in California, Southern California Institute of Law.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. And so, Danyelle, you wrote a book called
I did.
Yes, called Dear Thomas.
I'm like, let me pull that up. I should have it sitting right here.
Awesome.
Yes. So this is my first memoir, Dear Thomas. It is my journey of what it is like to be in love with an addict and alcoholic. I wrote this book for all of the loved ones of addicts, just to let them know I relate to you and I know what you're going through and you're going to be okay. It's truly just a story of how I lost myself, almost lost my own life because I was preoccupied saving someone else's life. So this goes into all of it. And like I said, for the loved ones of addicts, I'm always fascinated to hear feedback from an addict or alcoholic themselves. But the loved ones, this is what they can relate to. And I'm sure there's loved ones, whether it's a parent of the addict, a sibling, significant other, or even the child, if their parent is the alcoholic or addict. I'm sure there are many times where they feel alone and they don't feel like they have anyone to relate to. And I promise I relate to you. And it's all written right here, how much I relate to you.
And where can folks grab a copy of your book?
So really anywhere online that you can buy books. So Amazon, Books A Million, BarnesandNoble.com. Even if you have like a gift card to Target and Walmart, they're not in stores at Target or Walmart, but they are on their website. So, and they come in hardback and paperback and also ebooks. So I believe it's Kindle on Amazon, but then also if you use Apple iBooks, the ebook is only $4.99.
Excellent. Thanks, Danyelle. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure to grab your copy. And now, Danyelle,
everyone's feedback.
Likewise. Danyelle, you mentioned suicide, and that's after the breakup, correct?
Oh gosh, when did I mention that? Wait.
So the suicide, when did you attempt the suicide?
No, or maybe worded it as I almost, I did. Oh my gosh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, there is a time, it's after the blind side happens. I don't want to give too much away.
Right.
But I am completely blindsided in this story and I almost killed myself. I almost drove off the cliff. It was broad daylight. I was going to make sure I was going to do it with so many witnesses to watch my car launch off a cliff. It's really, I always start crying when I start talking about it because I just remember holding on to that steering wheel and knowing all it was going to take was one hard turn of the steering wheel. And all my misery and all my pain was going to go away. And, but I chose life. And, yeah, it's really sad to think about how low I got. And just really hurtful to think about what people do to others, as far as hurting other people. And there is, in this book, at one point, I tell a person, like, people just don't know their power and their power of how deeply they can hurt somebody. And I let them know, like, you have the power to kill somebody. And I don't think people realize that. So, gosh, sorry. And even after that, it took a long time for me to drive on that road and not necessarily want to attempt suicide again, but just I would be driving on that road and I would remember where I was when I was thinking about it. And so it took a long time to drive that road and not go back to thinking about how dark and how low I had gotten. I would like to say now I can drive on that road and it doesn't cross my mind anymore. I guess I can just look back at how far I've come. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing, Danyelle. Thank you for being transparent and vulnerable here. Now, what message do you have for an individual who may be attempting suicide while we're on that subject?
It's not worth it. Anyone who, people have said to me, had I ended my life, it would have been the wrong person. Not that that person deserves to be the one to die, but the situation and who hurt who. I'm not the one that's supposed to end my life because someone else hurt me. And, there could be so many different reasons and situations why people feel suicidal at times. But I just guess overall, like, it's not the answer. You are worthy of life and you have a purpose. And, yeah, I mean, life's hard. It's not easy. That's for sure. But just get help, find someone to talk to, find like a safe person, whether that's a therapist or a family member or a friend or even a stranger, as long as that person is safe. Because you can go to anyone and talk about your problems, but it doesn't mean that they're safe people or they're the ones to go to talk to. So I guess just finding your safe person to talk to. Or it could even be a tree. It could be Grandmother Willow. Find someone or something to talk to.
I love it. That's such a powerful message, Danyelle. Thank you so much for sharing. There is a purpose for your life. Such a powerful message. And now, Danyelle, let's talk a little bit more about addiction, right? You mentioned addiction, dating someone with an addiction. What message do you have for the individuals out there in a current situation where they're dating someone with an addiction?
Yeah, it's hard. All I can say is the person that is struggling with addiction, that is their journey and it's not yours. And you were not put on this earth to take care of that person. I try really hard to live by, like, if I have a child, yes, I was put on this earth to take care of my child, who I also put on this earth. But any other person, that's not your purpose to save their life. And so someone struggling with addiction, like, I feel for them, it's difficult, but that's their journey. And you're not a horrible person if you leave them, because you're just saving yourself. And saving yourself is so important. It's truly a selfless act, if done correctly, and you're just overall generally a good human. But yeah, I don't want anyone to lose themselves trying to save someone else like I did. And what was hard with all of that, I didn't know this until I finished writing my book, but I realized my own addictions, and my own addictions were, I was addicted to love. And so I didn't want to lose Thomas because I thought that was love. I was addicted to proving people wrong. Like, oh no, I can save him and then we'll have our happily ever after. In general, I'm just a workaholic, so I'm addicted to success. And that's Thomas and I at one point had owned our own company. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but that was something really hard that I had to part ways with because I was addicted to success. But at the end of the day, it wasn't serving me the way I had hoped it was when I signed up for that. I hope I answered that question.
Yes, you did. And I know exactly what you mean when you say you don't want to give too much away, because you did mention it in your book as well. So thank you so much for giving us a brief. Now, you also mentioned having an addiction of being needed, correct?
Yes, that. And I don't know, obviously it stems from my childhood, but it feels good that someone needs you. But what I have discovered in the last couple of years through my own therapy was my definition of love was if they need me, that must mean that they're in love with me. And that is something that was displayed in my home growing up because my mom did everything. She was the breadwinner. She did all the shopping, the cooking, the cleaning, while my dad got to sit there on the couch with a beer. And so it was displayed to me that the women do everything. And so my entire, 20s and 30s, I've always thought like, oh, if the man needs me to pick up his kids or needs to do his laundry and do the shopping and, organize his bills for him, then he must love me. And that was a huge thing that I realized because with Thomas, I was like, how dare you do what you did to me, or you say you're not in love with me after everything I've done for you. And finally, I figured out that was my definition unconsciously. I didn't know that I thought if someone needs me, well, then that means they must be in love with me. And now I'm working on not wanting to be needed by people, not doing everything for everyone, because I want to be wanted by someone. I don't want to be needed. I want someone to want me. So that was a big realization. And it goes hand in hand with the anxious attachment style, codependency. I finally read a part of Terry Cole's book, but Terry Cole writes, she has Boundary Boss and Too Much, but she broke it down that I am a high functioning codependent. And so once I finally realized what I was and what that means, now I can figure out how to become less of that. But yeah, knowing that I was addicted to the feeling of being needed, but then it being slapped in the face like, honey, that is not what you want. You do not want or desire the feeling to be needed. So, I mean, writing a book is therapeutic, cathartic. You learn a lot of things about yourself when you put it onto paper and go back and reread it over and over again when you're editing it. And that is a huge realization that I came to.
Wow, that's absolutely powerful. Thanks so much, Danyelle. Now, can you give us a short summary of the letters that you sent to Thomas in jail?
Yes. So, gosh, when he was actually in jail, it was really just a lot of like what I've been up to and what's been going on in the real world, because we could only get so many phone calls. So it was just a nice way to catch up. And then same thing, the return letters he would send me was how much he loved me and was so thankful for me and so grateful for me that I saved his life. And so that's really just all that was going on in the letters. But what I loved so much about writing each other's letters was that is not a millennial thing to do. That is what our grandparents did. And there's just something about putting your feelings on paper, but then also receiving a letter from your loved one and reading their feelings that they took the time to put on paper. And it's just really special. And so it was sometime in that course of that. And I remember when he finally got out of jail, I was like, wait, I don't want the letters to stop, but they did. But it was somewhere in there is where I came up with the idea of the format of this book, because my book, I don't necessarily have chapters. It's just a book of all letters in chronological order in a 6-year timeline of what happened between us. I did save all of those letters, but unfortunately they burned in the house. So it happens.
But that's all right. Your memory, right? You have
Yes.
the memory of an elephant,
Yes,
correct?
exactly. I do.
And you also have a tattoo of the
I
elephant.
do. I have an elephant on the back of my neck. I went to
Which means
Taiwan.
what, Danyelle? What does it mean? The elephant.
The elephant. So my godmother would always mention how I have the memory of an elephant growing up because I don't forget anything. It's a blessing and a curse. My brothers call it my weapon of mass destruction because I don't forget anything. But then also elephants are like a symbol of wisdom, but also elephants rather stand alone than be with those who hinder them. And so that's really special to me. And yeah, I always loved elephants. So yeah, I have an elephant on the back of my neck.
Thanks so much, Danielle, for sharing that. And
Mhm.
now I want to circle back to the letters and a final question on the letters. So, an additional letter, what would you say to Thomas?
Oh, I have been asked this before. I clearly said a lot in my book.
Yes.
And I guess one final letter that I would say would be I did not write this to per se bash you or humiliate you or tell the world of all the embarrassing things that you did when you were high or drunk. Um this came from a place of I needed to do this to heal and to help other people, again, for those who relate to what I've gone through. Um, it took a long time, but I will say, and I really haven't told anyone this, but I guess it was a year after my book came out, kind of had an epiphany of thank God he let me go. Um, because I can get back to my life. And that's really hard for me to say because I personally struggle with forgiving people. I think just the word of forgiveness and the definition of forgiveness just doesn't align with me. For me to say I forgive someone means that everything they did to me was okay, which is not true at all. That's just where I struggle with the term forgiveness and actually forgiving someone. Because I don't want to give him any credit or clap on the back like,
I understand.
you did not, the way you went about things was horrible. But I did send him a text one time and told him like, thank you for letting me go. As evil and conniving as it was, I got my life back. So a last letter to him, I mean, that was already sent to him, but if I were to write a letter or give him any last words, it was really just about, this book wasn't meant to humiliate you or put you down. It's really not even about you. It's about me and my journey and helping other people.
I love it. That's a powerful message. So essentially, the Dear Thomas book that you wrote was about healing, your healing journey, not humiliation.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Some people might have thought of it as, well, it's not slander because everything in there's true. But people would have thought of it like that. It was a way to like attempt to ruin his life or something. And that's not what it is.
Right. Thank you so much for the clarification on that,
Mm.
Danielle. Now, let's talk about betrayal and heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
What message do you have for someone who's experiencing heartbreak or betrayal?
Ooh, oh man, it is the worst. It is the worst. I'm like so sorry if anyone is going through betrayal or heartbreak right now. It is the worst. Thomas has definitely left some scar tissue on my heart. That's for sure. I don't know if anyone can ever hurt me like that. Again, as low as I got is almost driving off the cliff. And that's not to say that I won't ever love someone as much as I loved him. It's just there's so much scar tissue on my heart. I can't feel pain that deep ever again. From at least, a relationship. But someone going through betrayal and heartbreak, all I can really say is just, lean into, again, your safe people, whether that's your family or your friends, your community, but just know that that person was clearly not your person because who you are meant to be would never hurt you like that. That's all I can say really is just just know that is not who you're supposed to be with. For some reason, you're supposed to learn a lesson, which is really hard to say and live through. But that's all I can think of, really.
Very powerful. Now, Danyelle, where are you on your healing journey now?
As far as Thomas goes, I'd say I'm pretty healed. I mean, we are definitely not friends, that's for sure. But there's been other relationships since then. One I was really bummed didn't work out. Oh, perfect. Okay, I lost you for a second. So yeah, with Thomas, I would like to say I'm pretty healed. It's been a long time. But again, him and I are not friends by any means. I made a promise to him I would never do anything for him ever again. There have been other relationships since then. You know, one, I was really bummed it didn't work out because that person and I were extremely compatible. There's compatibility and there's chemistry.
Yes.
Maybe lacked some chemistry, but man, I was infatuated by how compatible I was with this person. That one also, I would say I've healed from. It did not end horribly like other relationships. And then there's another one, so much chemistry, zero compatibility, a lot of heart. I'll just say, if people thought Dear Thomas was my bestseller, my third book might be the bestseller, which I definitely am not going to give anything away at this time. But right. I am still working through that heartbreak. Again, just absolutely shocked and disgusted how people can hurt other people. It's just really hard and sad. It's just sad.
Thank you so much, Danyelle, for sharing. And so essentially I have it pulled up here, right? So Thomas, addiction, losing yourself, vulnerability, healing. The flow is not just a sequence, it's a journey, right? Your healing journey. And we are really looking forward to your other books as well. Your third book, as you put it, really looking forward to it. Danyelle, this has been such an honor. Do you have any last words for the audience?
I don't think so, but just thank you so much for having me. And if anyone gets my book, I love to hear the feedback. My Instagram is at Danyelle Cedar. And then in the back of the Dear Thomas book is the QR code for the Dear Thomas, the book Instagram page. But I love to hear people's thoughts and for them to share me their own stories of how they related to any of the situations that I went through. And all of that can stay private, or if I have people's permission, I love to take screenshots and just share their feedback or reviews, but cutting their names out of it. But yeah, if anyone reads my book, I can't wait to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Walk Away podcast, Danyelle. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. You too.